Hello. 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 Okay, hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Luis, how are you? Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm very well. Very well indeed. And I see you have your Halloween 2 shirt on. Looks very, very great, man.
Thank you. I just grabbed something out of the closet this morning. What do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So far, the movie's great. Chapter one, which we've all seen, I'm sure you've seen as well last week, is absolutely spectacular. And
Right.
good job to the directors and all the people who have taken place in this particular fan film. And you are Michael.
Yes, I am. I took over the role of Michael in part two.
Exactly. So how you feel about that? I mean, well, obviously, I'm sure you're thrilled. I mean, to play such a
Yeah.
scary character.
One second. Let me silence my phone real quick.
No problem.
Sorry, it's show day. Okay. Yes. I don't know. It was weird because at first I saw they're all doing chapter one, and everybody involved. I'm like, you know, good for them, and I was really happy for everybody involved because there's some extremely amazing talent involved in chapter one, especially in the Tacoma, Seattle, Olympia area. And so I saw the filming wraps. I'm like, oh, okay, like they won't need any, shots of Michael like standing in the back or anything, old school Halloween style, like with how many people have played Michael in just the first movie,
Mhm.
So I got a message actually from the producer, Chuck, and he said, oh, we're gonna be working together soon. I'm like, okay, what's going on here, and he said, took my measurements, asked me about my height, and I'm like, that's oddly specific. He's like, you're Michael,
Oh, wow.
and so I don't know how that came about. My only guess is, they probably saw some of the old monster stuff I would do for creepy TV,
Mhm.
because relatively tall, strong guy playing some zombified creatures and stuff. But of course, naturally, I said yes because it's Michael.
Oh, yeah.
And so I looked around at what I had. Had some old coveralls, that kind of matched up to a couple of the old sequels, and then was able to get a mask rehauled, from the film, from its stock. And then the day of, I remember I was like, holy crap, I'm playing Michael in the fan film,
Mhm.
and so definitely it kind of like hit me later on what was going on. And try to make sure to do my absolute best, because I know the fans especially can be very, critical of these films in fan films too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm rambling. Anyway, go on.
Hey, no, no, it's all good, man. It's all good. I mean, I'm sure in the same way you're overwhelmed of having this great opportunity. So, I mean, but overwhelmed in a good way. So, I mean, it's
Yes.
normal to ramble about something when you're overwhelmed or very happy at doing something.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, oh yeah. I probably would be the same way too. I mean, now I'm just the interviewer. I mean, I'm not the person playing them. But with that being said, I'm sure I would be if I was in your shoes right now. There you go.
Yeah.
Uh, But I mean, you think of how many people have played him over the years. I mean, Nick
Oh,
Castle was the first one.
yep.
And we have other great people playing him as well. But you can't really tell. You want people say, like, I know someone, it doesn't matter what their name is, but I know some right now that wants to know who's playing the character before the movie's over. And I said, why would you want to know that? It's exciting to find out who the killer is at the end of it when they pop off that mask. You go to spoilers, there's no such thing. There's no sense of buying the movie and watching it. But with
Right.
Michael, you hardly ever see him take off his mask.
No.
Same thing with other movies, but I'm sticking to the Michael conversation, of course. But
Yeah.
as I was telling Matt Jensen last Saturday when I was interviewing him, which he was Michael in chapter one. Okay,
Yes.
the thing is, what made Michael Myers tick? Well, number one, he was in an environment that wasn't healthy. If you watch the very first one, which is the Rob Zombie one,
Mhm.
he was in an environment that was extremely unhealthy. His parents were fighting constantly. His sister treated him like you know what. So
Yep.
and his mother's stepfather was very abusive to him. Not saying that excuses the behaviors, but that's usually what happens after a while. That's they get to the point in their life where enough is enough. Now, Michael Myers is just a fictional character, as we know, but abusive people out there, they go through that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to know what Michael Myers went through was absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And, unfortunately, you do, like you mentioned, there is, cases like that out there of,
Oh, yeah.
Very awful emotional and physical abuse within a home.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Where it was targeted towards,
oh, yeah.
a wife, a child, a husband, eventually, all that anger and resentment builds up and it explodes somehow,
Yeah,
and
exactly. So
he snaps.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, which I was so glad when Rob Zombie made Halloween 2007 to really explain there was more to this guy besides a mask going around. He did have a life at some point.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah, he did. So there you go. Now, who are you? Tell me some of the people you're acting alongside of in this great fan film.
Yes, in the Shape Chapter 2, I am alongside the director, actor from the first one, Aaron Carlson.
Yeah.
So I get to take him on a little bit, and
wow.
he really turned up the badassery on this one. I tell you what.
Well, which you can't say too much, of course.
Right. Yeah. He turned it up.
Okay.
And John Medjison, very awesome.
I'm interviewing him tomorrow, actually. Or actually, no, tonight. Actually, I'm interviewing John tonight. So there you go.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a very incredible and inspiring young man, and it was his first real delve into like action, oriented stuff, and a little bit of stunt work, not too much because smaller films can't get away with too much of the stunt stuff. But he really turned it on, and he found that energy, and I'm just really proud of this little cast I got to work with this time. And yeah, I was behind a mask. I got beat up a little bit, but being around this group of like-minded people, it's just truly inspiring.
Oh, yeah. And to let the good people know that although fan films are made by fans for fans, they're certainly not easy to make. There's a lot of work that goes into this production. Sometimes a lot of red tape that they have to cut through. It's not easy at all, although they are made for fans, by fans.
By fans, yep.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for example, you take movies, other fan films, which I'm not going to mention. There are cases where, let's say, that scene needs an ambulance in there, and they have a real ambulance coming in. Oh, they'll do it, but if they don't get their moolah, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Sure, we'll do it. You got $1 million some to fund with this? No, sir, we don't. Well, it's not going to be a show.
Not happening. Exactly. It's
Exactly.
kind of like trying to get a stunt person to do a full body burn. You ain't getting away with that on a no budget at all.
Exactly. So they'll do it, but if you're not going to pay them for it, they're not going to do it. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, by the way, to explain why there's just a picture there, as you know, on a smartphone, you can't record Zoom conversations. You can't. I think there's a way if you pay for it, right?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm kind of new to Zoom. So
are you? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's understandable, and I appreciate that. But yeah, on the smartphones, you can't. Now with Instagram, they're recorded straight away but you have to keep them on a little bit longer before they'll actually record, as they say. But with Zoom, you would be able to see my whole face there, which really what you see up there, that's actually me.
That guy, right?
Yeah, that guy up there, the glasses. That's me. That's me, and that's not a fake picture. That's what I would look like in real life. I mean, if I had done this interview by the Zoom phone, you would have saw what I look like. So yeah. Only difference is I have a different shirt on today. That's all. Other than that, that is me. Okay, because I mean, with social media and the World Wide Web, you can put any picture up there and classify it as you. No, I'm the real
Right.
deal. So there you go.
Yeah.
But anyways, that being said, it's so great that you're going to be working with a great cast in this movie, especially the director, Aaron Carlson. I've spoken to Aaron, not in interview, but by Facebook Instant Messenger. He sounds like a fine gentleman, really, really passionate about this movie and,
Yes.
100% committed to it.
I 100% agree with you. It's a nice little change of pace.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just, you going into fan films, you get either somebody that takes it like, like, oh, like to the T, but this guy really found the fun and joy. And the weekend, the Friday through Sunday that we spent filming part 2, just was truly a treat. And
Oh, exactly.
but I know as I move on professionally,
Mhm.
that, those days might, become less and less, but this is definitely one of those magical moments that I'm really glad I got to experience.
Now, the other side I've actually seen in fan films too. I'm not going to mention the names because I want to stick to our conversation here.
Right.
Like the merchandise that they sell for the movie, that can be a lot of red tape too, from what I've learned. I mean, you can't just take products and start selling them when they don't belong to you. So I've heard there's red tape to go through in that perspective as well.
Yeah, weird thing. So that I don't know if you remember this, but remember that picture that was floating around for a while? It was I don't know if you've seen it, but it's Michael and Jason in front of like a burger stand enjoying some milkshakes.
Like something like Freddy versus Jason kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of going on.
Michael versus Jason. Okay, in this case.
Yeah, but there was I don't know. So my partner I was with at the time took that picture. I was with her, of course, I was Michael, whatever. This is a couple of years ago.
Exactly.
That got put on the internet, and strangely enough, people took it and were selling like beach towels,
Wow.
little poster prints, and like sweatshirts. And I was looking into it a little bit. This is all kind of like a little different little area for me, but I think there's some sort of like fair use, something like that, where as long as you're not using distinct names,
Oh yeah.
But I know there's like the likeness part, but I'm still doing my little study.
Exactly.
I just want to do stunts and perform,
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the point is there's a lot of work into making, like, there's soap operas out there too. It doesn't matter what their names are, but there's one soap show right now. One of the cast members was interviewed last week, and they go about 40, they have to memorize like 40 words in that one for a 30-minute episode. They have to memorize 40 like dialogue. Like, really, imagine that now, trying to process it all in your head. Now, with this fan film, do you guys have to kind of memorize your words, like study this very carefully? And I'm sure it's hard to do without you don't want to go on filming holding a paper. Okay, this one I'm supposed to say, or that's what I'm supposed to say. Okay. It wouldn't look professional, of course. But
right.
What that being said, I'm sure you go through a lot of that too.
Right, exactly. And those guys, Aaron and John actually had a lot of the heavier dialogue scenes. Oh, yeah. And I showed up a little later, and for me, honestly, it was me just memorizing my marks and my cues for actions. And but they definitely took their time, before filming, sit down in their kitchen essentially and just go over the lines and run them through. So by the time action, going exactly. Real, whatever you want to call it, they are speaking without putting too much thought into it.
Raymond and Amy are great. I mean, Amy and Raymond Power. Of course, I'm sure you remember Raymond. I've interviewed Raymond about 2 times. He's a nice gentleman. He's the kind of person that very friendly. I would say Raymond Power would be the kind of person, if you were walking down the street and he'd be the first one to say, "You okay?"
Yeah,
that's how
I believe it.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Now Amy, I've never interviewed her. I have spoken with her in Facebook to set up an interview at some point. But her performance was dynamite.